Good day and welcome to this meditation experience. Delighted to have you here with us. And today, very sensitive topic. Yeah, I don't know how everybody feels about this. You might just shut the whole thing off once I talk about, but it's around this idea of making excuses and it's obviously connected to something bigger. Recently, we did talk about this role of ego or insecurity or sort of the illusion of personal value and how deeply we will protect that, even though it's really not serving us well at all. And one of the ways, there's multiple ways that ego expresses itself. It's quite, it's quite a long list. But one that's really fascinating to me is this idea of making excuses. Rationalization is under there as well. And just from the experience in the fitness world, it's amazing the variety that you see. There's some people who really have a lot of challenges, either physical or health or even mental or limitations of time, family obligations, and yet they don't make any excuses. They get to the gym, they do their thing. They could be in a wheelchair, they get to the gym, they do their thing. And then there's others who really don't seem to have anything blocking their way. And yet there's so many reasons they come up with that they're not at the gym or they can't do the exercise. So there's obviously inner resistance. And I guess that's the ultimate thing to explore around excuses, to be able to see through the excuses. What is going on inside? Why am I, if you will, sabotaging myself, allowing ego to block the cultivation of self-respect? So going inside, developing a keen eye within myself, because all of this happens within ourselves. There's really nothing outside that's blocking the way we get in our own way. So how can I cooperate with my own progress rather than sabotage? So let's go inside. Very exciting, again, slightly sensitive topic, and see what we might discover. Sitting comfortably. And again, I want my eyes wide open for this one. If my physical eyes are open, great, but definitely want my inner eye of insight wide open, very engaged, very alert. I am definitely not checking out. This is still very peaceful, but I need to be very attentive, aware, engaged. The first thing I want to do is place myself on the seat of the observer. And to do that, in a way, I need to step out of my day-to-day persona. The feeling that I, the actor, am now stepping off the stage. On the stage, I wear a costume, I have makeup, I speak lines, there are props, and there are other actors. And I play my role. And sometimes my mind is filled just with that. But for this moment, the wonderful, light feeling of giving myself permission to step off the stage. That means stepping out of the costume and the masks and the makeup, that physical image I thought was me, this physical body and stepping into the awareness that I am the being inside the body, the actor inside the costume. I've spent so much time connecting to, attaching to, identifying with the costume and the personality of that costume, valuing myself through that costume. I have completely lost myself. So it may be a little tight, take a little time to step out of the costume, becoming quiet and still for this subtle operation of slipping out of the costume, becoming aware. I am the being inside. This costume belongs to the stage, not to me. I am this subtle, beautiful spark of life and light inside. And very naturally, everything else on the stage that I was calling mine, by virtue of wearing that costume, it starts to fade away to the props, the relationships with the other actors, the persona, the lines, everything stays on the stage. And I start to move into the wings, into the role of observer, observing what's going on the stage from a very peaceful, safe, almost compassionate place where I am now stable in who and what I am. I am a spiritual being with remarkable capacity and depth. My true personality outside of the costume is very peaceful, very light, very pure-hearted, very respectful. This is the place I observe from, observing the stage on which I act, from this stage of my true nature. And if I observe myself as I act on the stage, starting to react, something happens in the scene, a fellow actor comments on my behavior, or does something I had not expected, and I react. My peace is gone, my lightness, my depth, my respect is gone. That is the moment before I even think one more thought. I need to get off the stage into the seat of observer. Remember my true stage and look honestly at myself, not at the other actors, not at the props, but just at myself from this light, peaceful, compassionate place. If I'm looking honestly, I will clearly see ego, insecurity, lack of self-respect has been activated. Nothing else. No amount of thinking is going to help me now. I need to feel my own personal value. Completely flood my inner world with the awareness of who and what I am. And in that way, ego melts and clarity returns. All my blind spots are illuminated, and I can see clearly the way forward. Maybe it was a lack of trust or faith in the self. Maybe I had become judgmental or critical. Maybe I was not being completely honest with myself. Complete clarity on what was the seed of that reactivity. But no trace of shame or guilt or blame. Just clarity. Able to see the way forward. No excuses, no rationalization, just self-progress. I need to spend more and more time in the experience of the observer, standing in the wings, sitting in the seat of complete self-respect. I am a soul separate from the costume, the story of the costume. My true nature is very peaceful, very elevated, very pure. To feel that state where I am not wearing any costume, but the costume of truth. The more time I spend absorbed in the experience of the truth about myself, the more I'll be able to hold this stage as I operate on the world stage, as I go through the day. Constant self-progress. It's called the flying stage. And that's why I stand in the wings. Om Shanti.